Yes, ma'am.
Good afternoon, Mr. Depp.
Good afternoon.
Can you please tell the jury why you're here today?
Yes. About 6 years ago, Miss Heard made some quite hang and just brought these disturbing criminal acts against me that were not based in any species of truth. It was a complete shock that it just didn't need to go in that direction, as nothing of the kind had ever happened, though the relationship, there were arguments and things of that nature, but never did I myself reach the point of striking Miss Heard in any way, nor have I struck any woman in my life. And so at the time, because the news of this accusations had sort of permeated the industry and then made its way through media, social media.
Está aquella just mirándole la jeta. Oh.
Let's say, quote unquote, fact, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
And since I knew that there was no truth to it whatsoever, I felt it my responsibility to stand up not only for myself in that instance, but stand up for my children, who at the time were 14 and 16, and so they were in high school, and I diabolical that my children would have to go school and have their friends or people in the school approach them with the infamous People magazine cover with Miss Heard with a dark bruise on her face, and then it just kept it kept multiplying. It just kept getting bigger and bigger. So it was my responsibility, I felt, to not only attempt to clear my name for the sake of
Se está cortando la TV.
I wanted to clear my children of this horrid thing that they were having to read about their father that was untrue. And also, after many years of being in this industry, at the time it was probably,
Bueno.
I'd probably been in the industry 30 plus years, 35 years.
Hablando de toda su trayectoria.
Never had any problems, anything like that. And I had met people over the years, many of the people.
Toda la gente.
Had the opportunity to talk to those people and to even give advice to these people.
Consejos a la gente.
I'm not. My goal is truth. my goal is the truth
Su meta es la verdad.
because it killed me that people that I had spoken with, that I had met with over the years,
Lo devastó.
who may be in a
Y que toda la
not
gente
such a
después de
great
tantos
position and they
años
needed advice,
que
and I
ocupaba consejos de
the
él
best advice I could.
y les daba los mejores
All
consejos
I could go was that those people
y que esa gente
would think that I
pues
was a fraud and that I
estaba
lied.
acusándolo de
And
fraude.
so I had to wait for my opportunity to
Y tuve que buscar su
address the
oportunidad
charges, which were criminal charges.
para hacer
And they just weren't
saber de todos los
true.
cargos
So I held the responsibility of clearing the
que
record.
tuvo responsabilidad de
As,
aclarar su récord.
The only way that I could
Y la única manera
get to the point where I could speak
que pudo haber
has really taken
hecho a
this
conocer
full
sus
6 years.
problemas
And it's been 6 years of
era esperar los 6
trying
años.
times.
Y
It's
ya
very
ha sido 6 años.
strange when
Y que es muy
one
raro
day you're
que un día
Cinderella, so to speak, and then in
estás
0.6
contento con
seconds
todo
you're Quasimodo.
y para el otro estás con
And
Quasimodo, que todo se
I
está callando abajo,
didn't
que él no
deserve
supo
that, nor did my
y no se lo
children,
merecía,
nor did the people who have believed in me for all these years. I didn't want
que para toda la
anybody,
gente que
any
creyó
of those
en
people,
él,
to believe that I had
que no quiso que
done
creyera
wrong
que
or
él
lied to
era,
them, or that I was a fraud.
que era un fraude él,
I
pensara
pride myself on honesty. I
que él
pride
se orgulla en él mismo,
myself
en
on
su mismo
truth.
orgullo,
Truth is the
en
only
que la
thing I'm
verdad
interested in. Other lies will get you nowhere, but
y las mentiras no te van a llevar a ningún lado,
lies
pero
build upon lies and build upon
las
lies.
mentiras
It's
se
too much to
imponen
cover.
entre las mentiras, se
I'm
suman
obsessed with the truth, and
y él prefiere mejor
so
la verdad.
today is
Y que hoy
actually my spill
y
the truth
hablar la verdad
is quite exposing,
es muy
and
exponente.
it's unfortunate that it's not only
Desafortunadamente
exposing for myself, it's
para
exposing
él
for my
es
family, it's exposing for Miss Heard, it's
muy
exposing
revelador
for
para él, muy revelador para todos.
it never had to go in this
Nunca
direction,
tuvo
and
que
so
corregir este camino, nunca tuvo
I
que
can't say that I'm embarrassed because I know that I'm doing the right thing.
él, él está
Now,
haciendo
Mr.
la
Depp, I'd like to turn a bit to your upbringing. We heard a bit from your sister
interesting childhood. One that I thought was normal until a certain age. My mother was born in Kentucky, and then we moved, in which we moved quite a lot when I was a kid. So you were always just, Mom had this, her feet were on fire and she had to move, you know, so we moved constantly. So you were always the new kid, and that wasn't ever particularly pleasant. Then we moved to Florida, South Florida, when I was about 7 or 8. And again, moved several times. But my mother was quite unpredictable.
Su mamá era bien impredecible.
She was
Ella era bien, no sé,
she had the ability
tuvo la
to be
habilidad de ser
as cruel as anyone can be.
de lo más cruel de lo uno que puede
That is to
imaginarse.
say, my sister Steve and my brother Danny and my sister
Su
Debbie,
hermano, su hermana
also my father.
y su padre.
So, essentially, she was, she could become quite violent.
Que se puede poner violenta. Y ella era bien violenta,
And she,
bien cruel.
and though
Y tal vez, a pesar, había
certainly,
abuso físico
which could be in the form of
que pudo haber sido en la forma
an
de
ashtray being flung at you, you know,
en un
hit you
cenicero
in the head,
aventado
or
a él,
you'd get beat with a high heel shoe
o
or a
con una
telephone or whatever
con
was handy. So in our house,
ish,
there was no, we were never exposed to any type of safety or security. The only thing that one could do, really,
y lo único
was
que uno
to try to
podía
stay
haber
out of the line
hecho
of fire.
era nomás
You,
quitarse de la línea del
I
fuego.
started to
Y
be able to
empezamos
observe,
a observar
and
y
I could see, I
Y
could
él
start to
miraba.
see when she was about to
él miraba cuando ella
head into
se metía
a situation where
se
she was
metía en
going
una
to get riled up
situación cuando
and
ella se
somebody
iba
was going to get
a
it.
enojar y que él lo iba a recibir, que le iban a dar.
It was
Y
me.
era él, la víctima.
Mr. Depp, you mentioned that your mother could be cruel. How could she be cruel?
Mencionó que su madre pudo haber sido cruel. ¿Cómo
Well,
pudo haber sido cruel?
I suppose are
Él supone que
there's physical violence, of course. There's
violencia
physical
física, abuso físico,
abuse, to which she was a constant.
que estuvo a
That was just a
constante,
constant, you know.
que era
You know,
los defectos,
one might
cualquier
have, you know,
defecto
my
de
brother wore
cualquier uno
glasses,
tiene.
so of course he was four eyes,
El hermano
and
que era
he had
4
his
ojos con los
teeth were
lentes,
messed up in the front, so he was bucktooth as
con
well.
los dientes chimuelo.
My sister Christy,
Su hermana,
which this is such a hideous
que esto es
psychological play.
un abuso
my father's,
psicológico
parents were quite
horrendo.
refined. My mother comes from eastern Kentucky, which
Su
is
mamá viene de Kentucky de
where you
este,
grow up in
que
Jackson,
crece
hollers, you know.
en Jackson.
And my mother despised my father's parents.
Que su
And my
madre
grandmother's name was Violet.
odiaba a los padres de su padre, de sus suegros,
Every
que
now
era
and
bien
again, you would
violenta,
hear my mother just
que su
you know,
mamá
call
era,
out to us,
siempre
"Get
gritaba
in here, Violet, get in
a
here,
través de la
Violet."
casa,
And
adentro Violeta.
Christy, my sister, knew very well
Su hermana sabía
that was
que
a deep,
eso fue un profundo,
psychologically,
un
emotional.
llamo profundo
But
hasta
we
el
had to
abuso
take it.
psicológico.
You just had to take
Nomás
it.
tenías que aguantar.
I was born
Él
with a
nació
very strange, it was a very rare
con
thing
extraños,
in my eye at
una extraña enfermedad en el ojo.
back of the lens is
Atrás de
spherical.
la,
Normally spherical, so in this eye it isn't normal.
que en su
This
ojo
eye I
no
was born
puede ver normal.
with a more conical lens, so my brain learned to see out of my
Su
left eye.
cerebro
And I
aprendió a
noticed
ver de
I
todo
was about
de su
3,
lado
4,
izquierdo,
3, 4, that I had a lazy eye,
que tuvo un ojo chicho.
wandering eye, and
Ajá.
it would call me, she would call me cockeye, one
Que le
eye,
hablaba un ojo,
anything
cualquier
to
nombre
get
que ella
to
pensaba
demean, humiliate.
para humillar.
I even had to wear
Que él
I
también
had to wear an
tuvo
eye
que
patch on my good eye
ponerse un parche de ojo
to strengthen my bad eye,
para
so that it
enforzar
would
su
cease
vista
to
del
wander.
otro
The
ojo,
it was excess
y que
muscles of the eye.
era
The brain had never learned to see, so I still my vision in my left eye
su
is
visión de su ojo izquierdo es
completely
muy
blind in my left eye.
borroso todavía.
But so yeah,
Pues
the verbal abuse, the
el
psychological
abuso
abuse
verbal, el abuso
was,
psicológico,
was almost worse than
que era casi peor
the beatings,
que
because the beatings were just
las
physical pain.
golpizas, que el abuso
And physical
físico,
pain
el abuso físico.
you learn to deal with, you learn to accept
Aprendes
it, you
a
learn
aguantarte, aprendes a aceptar
to deal with it.
y aprendes a
But the
sobresalir.
psychological and emotional abuse,
Y todos
that's
los abusos psicológicos y físicos, verbales.
What about your father? What was he like?
¿Qué tal su padre? ¿Cómo fue él?
my father was a very kind man.
Su padre fue
My
un
father's still alive. He's
buen hombre, muy
a very kind
cariñoso,
man. He's a very quiet man.
muy
In fact,
muy
he's
quieto, muy
very
callado, muy tímido.
not a confrontational
No fue
person
confrontoso,
in any way.
no fue
And when Betty
agresivo
my
de
mother,
ninguna manera,
would go off
pero cuando se pasaba las cosas,
on a
cuando
tangent, toward my father, and of course in front of the kids it was no matter
enfrente de
to
los hijos,
her.
no se pudo.
He would
Él
he amazingly remained very, very stoic.
se
And
quedaba compuesto, muy
never, as she was rationing him
que su mamá le
horrible
tiraba
things,
muchas cosas,
he stood there and just
y que él era muy
while
tranquilo
she delivered the pain.
mientras ella
And he
abusaba,
swallowed it.
mientras
He took
ella
it. There was never
y él
one moment,
siempre es bien tranquilo.
never a
No
moment
hubo un
when my
momento,
father,
nunca hubo un momento
And then the most that he would do is he would
Y lo
punch
más que hacía
a wall.
era
I once saw him punch a wall and
golpear la pared
shatter his hand because it wasn't
y
drywall.
quebrarse la mano,
Proper
ensangrentarse la mano porque
steel
la
wire,
pared era,
rebar, things of that nature. And,
la pared era de metal reforzado, pero
never touched her,
nunca le puso la mano, nunca
argued with her.
nunca
He remained a gentleman, and to me, as a 5-year-old boy,
era siempre un caballero. Y
I kept
él,
thinking
como
to
un niño de
myself,
5, siempre pensaba
kept wondering why
por qué él lo soportaba, cómo lo soporta
and why doesn't he
y
leave her?
por qué no se va.
But he
Y
didn't.
él no se fue.
He was able to
Él pudo mantener
calm and his
su
composure.
calma y
He
su
was able to
compostura
maintain,
y pudo
his
mantener
relationship
su
with his
relación con sus hijos.
He was a good
Y
man.
él era un hombre, buen hombre,
You
buen
mentioned that
hombre.
you saw your father punch a wall. How many times did you
Mencionó
witness that?
que golpeaba la pared. ¿Cuántas veces mirabas eso?
Out of I couldn't count the amount of fights that they
No
had.
pude contar de
I know that
cuántas peleas hubo,
I've seen my father strike,
pero yo miraba que él pegaba la pared, golpeaba la pared 2 o 3 veces a la vez.
once
Una vez
he broke his hand,
se quebró la mano, se fracturó,
but it
pero
2-3 times at
2 o 3
tops.
veces
Was your father ever
mínimo.
abusive to you or any of your siblings?
No, my father was never. My father was not an abusive man.
No, su padre no era un hombre abusivo.
My father was also,
A veces
to some degree, at the mercy of Betty Sue, because if he argued with what
que
she
si él argumentaba con ella, lo que ella quería,
that would just turn into
eso nomás
another barrage of hatred towards him.
iba a comenzar otro
Remember
argumento
my father coming
de
home from
odio.
work and I'd gotten a bad report, or maybe
Malos reportes
gotten in trouble at school or
que
something like that.
en la escuela,
And my father would arrive home from work,
que su
and the
papá
first thing
llegaba
she would say
a la casa
was,
del trabajo, que John,
take him out there.
llévatelo,
He gets the belt, give him the belt.
dale el cinturón, que le dé el cinturón.
And he wanted to know what it was about.
Y él quería
So
saber de
he'd
lo
take
que
me
se
out to the
trataba.
garage,
Que
and
lo llevaron al garage
on this
en
white thick leather 1970s era thick leather white belt that he would
un cinto de
take off,
piel
and then he would
que era grueso, y él iba a empezar a soltarle los cinturonazos, pero
there was one time
que hubo un tiempo
when my father,
que su padre,
I kept telling him
que
I
él le
didn't do
decía
this.
que él
There was
no,
another incident. I kept swearing to him that I
que
did
él no
not do what
hizo
Betty
lo
Sue,
que
what my
lo
mom had said
acusaban
that I'd done.
de que él hizo,
But he
pero
went through with the punishment anyway.
él siguió con el castigo.
Not long after he
Y
found
después de eso
out that
se
I
dio
had
cuenta
been
de
telling
que
the truth,
él estaba diciendo la verdad y que él no hizo
what
lo que lo acusaba,
my mom had
y
said
que lo
that I'd
acusaba su
done.
mamá.
And he
Y
came to me and
él llegó a él
apologized to me
y le ofreció una disculpa
for having gone
por
through with
haber,
the whipping, you know,
por
the
haber
belt.
puesto el castigo, por haber darle con el cinto.
I have to say,
Y él tuvo que decir
Mom never did that.
que su mamá nunca lo hacía,
She knew what
que
she
no
knew.
pudo,
She was raised how she was raised.
que ella se crió como la criaron.
I had no power to change what
Ella
was
no
said by
él no
her.
tuvo el poder de cambiar lo que pensaba
How
su mamá.
did your parents' relationship ultimately come to an end to your understanding?
Cómo terminó la relación de sus padres, como él sabe,
When my father left,
de su
I didn't
conocimiento.
realize that he had left. He left.
Él no sabía que su
I
papá
was
se había ido.
15. I had
Él
already
tuvo 15
left
años.
school, and I was a musician. I was playing
Sí,
in
él era
clubs
músico,
and such.
tocaba en los clubes y todo.
He for work one morning,
Y él
just like
se
me.
fue a trabajar una mañana y
He
le
was
dijo,
packing his car,
estaba
and he
empacando el
left.
carro y se fue.
And then hours later,
Y horas después,
Mom Betty Sue came home from work.
cuando
It was
la
about
mamá llegó a
3:30
la
in the
casa,
afternoon,
3 de la tarde,
and she walks in the door
y entró a la casa
and
y
just looked around,
detuvo y
like she
miró,
felt
volteó,
something,
sintió
and she just, I said, "What's wrong?" She said, "Your daddy's gone."
y
I said,
dijo,
"Well, yeah, I
su
seen him
papá
leave
se
for
fue,
work this morning." She said, "No,
se
no, no,
fue de
no,
la
he's gone, he's
casa.
gone." And she ran into their bedroom and into
Entró
their
al
closet,
cuarto,
and I
en el
followed her,
closet,
she opened the
se
door,
metió, abrió la
and there
puerta
was one, yeah, his side, his rack
y
of
su closet,
clothing and all his belongings were gone.
su lado del closet,
And she
todas
was quite
sus
upset.
pertenencias
And I took her car and drove to my father's
no
work.
estaban. Se fueron en
And
el carro, se fueron al trabajo
sat
del
down in
papá,
front of him at 15, and
se
I said,
sentaron
"Listen,
enfrente de él y
seems as though somebody stole all
15
your
años
clothes out of
y
the closet."
dice que
And
parece que alguien le robaron
and
sus cosas
he said,
del
"Yeah."
closet. Dice que él
He
sí
said, "I'm done.
dijo que
I can't.
terminó, ya no
I can't do
puede,
it anymore.
ya no
I
puede,
can't live it anymore.
ya no puede vivir así.
You're the man. You're the
Él
man
es
now."
el hombre, él es el hombre de la casa.
And
Y
those words
esas palabras
didn't quite sit well with me. I
no,
didn't feel like I was ready to hear those words.
no estuvo listo de escuchar esas
That's what I
palabras.
got.
No me...
Then my mom
Y la mamá
went into a very, very dark place, a very deep, dark
llegó a un lado
depression, as you
oscuro
can
de
imagine.
su tiempo.
And she,
Y ella
one afternoon,
una
woke up.
noche
I'd fallen
despertó,
asleep,
él
and
estaba
I
dormido,
woke up and walked out into the
despertó
living room.
y caminó hacia
And
la
I saw
sala
my mother,
y miró a su mamá
like very
muy,
feebly,
muy débil,
and like almost, it was like
como
a
casi
slow motion
caminando en moción
crawl.
lenta.
If I could stand up, I could show you just what I saw. Do you mind, Your Honor?
You can stand up.
Thank you.
Demostrar
I saw my mother,
cómo caminaba así,
you know, in that
débil.
mode. So instantly, I knew that something was
Aquella no se quiere reír, pero
and there's
Y-
drool coming out of her mouth, and
que hubo
as I was about to run and call,
saliva saliendo de su boca
the front
y
door
que
burst open,
cuando iba él
my
a arrimarse a
uncle
la puerta
and
y ayudar a su
two
mamá,
paramedics came in,
llegaron unos
and,
paramédicos
threw her on the gurney
y
and whisked her out of the house to get her to the
la
hospital
aventaron
to pump her stomach. She had
la troca y le empezaron a pompear la panza, que se había pasado muchas pastillas,
to try to take herself out.
una sobredosis de
Commit
pastillas.
suicide. And when she got out of the
Y
hospital,
cuando salió del hospital
she was a small firecracker of a woman. She was
era como
about
un
5'2".
cuetecito de mujer.
But when she got out of the hospital, the depression was so
Que
deep.
su depresión era muy
She was
baja,
down to
muy mal,
she lived on the couch and she
que ella
weighed about
se acostaba
7
en
pounds.
un sofá y pesaba
That
70 libras.
all that imagery
todas las imágenes
spun into my
en su
head
cabeza
at that time that
en ese momento,
I thought that was a
y
very
él pensó
in at the time I thought that
muy
was a cowardly way
que era
for my father to have left.
una manera cobarde de que su
I
papá
was
se despidiera, que se haya
deeply
ido,
upset by that.
y él
Um,
tuvo razón
until
de estar.
my father and I had
Su
a
papá
conversation
tuvo una conversación
later where I
donde
asked him
le preguntan
what really
qué en
happened,
verdad, qué
how
pasó,
did it happen when I
cómo
was
pasó.
older. And he told me
Y
the
él me
story.
dice la
Or
historia.
maybe
I would I was I was I was very disappointed
Él
in
estaba
him
muy
because
decepcionado
I started to believe that
porque él
his exit
empezaba a
was
creer que su partida
sneaky, cowardly.
era muy cobarde.
He didn't when he said goodbye to me
Cuando
when he
dijo
left for
adiós a
work that
él,
morning. He said
cuando le
goodbye,
dijo adiós y se
goodbye,
fue en la
Pop,
mañana,
see you later, Pop.
que
That was it.
adiós, nos miramos al rato,
Until
hasta
I
que,
learned the truth.
supo la verdad.
And without getting into what your father told you, how has your impression of your father changed now?
Y después de todo lo que pasó, ¿cuál es su impresión de su padre después de
Your Honor,
todo?
this is just an understanding of his perception of his family.
I'll sustain the objection. Next question.
Objection,
Mr. Depp, what have you learned from
señor Depp.
your experience in
¿Usted
your
qué ha aprendido
childhood
de toda la
and
experiencia
observing your
que,
father in your childhood?
de lo que observó de su padre y de su juventud?
I learned that I was wrong about
Él
my first
aprendió que
impression
él
of
estuvo
his exit from the
equivocado de
family.
su partida, de su padre.
Very wrong.
Él estuvo muy equivocado.
And
Y
I'll tell you one thing
le voy a decir una cosa.
that
Él
was
aprendió que
one of the best lessons I believe I've ever learned in
fue
my
uno de
life.
los mejores